Okay.
Yes. Okay. So what I'm planning on showing you today is two methods of creating a flow in a different language, one of the supported languages. One of the ways we'll be showing you is creating it natively using our say and navigate nodes, and I'll show you those in a moment on the CoCoHub Studio. And the other way is Thorben is going to show you how to localize an entire component, because we make CoCoHub stands for Conversational Components Hub, and what we do is we make pre-made conversational components that you can localize and then make a chatbot, not doing it from scratch, but with a pre-made bot that handles a specific sub goal, that handles a specific conversation. So that's what we plan on doing today. And we're really glad you're here. Thorben, do you have any words to start us off with? Any words of wisdom?
No, just glad to see everyone here. It's been a great turnout. And yeah, let's get this started so we have enough time in the end to talk to all your amazing bots.
Great.
Don't want to be cutting that short.
Next slide. Okay. So we're going to give you the tools, the resources, and the knowledge to create a voice chatbot using the CoCoHub Studio. And we're going to give you a tour of the studio, and you can see the supported languages. Once you get on the studio, you can see the supported languages that you can build in. Even if your language is not one of the supported languages, there might be a way we can help you. So don't jump ship if your language isn't on the supported languages. Okay. Next up, that's me. And this is proof that I only have one shirt, and this is it. I've been making chatbots for the past 6 years. I love making chatbots. I'm not going to go into it. A lot of you already know me, and those of you who don't know me, then you'll see I'm crazy on this workshop. I love making chatbots. I come from the world of filmmaking, and I've discovered this wonderful world of conversation design, and I see it as a brand new art form that we're just beginning to explore, and that's how I see it. And you can see these projects that I've created, these chatbots, are very much tilted towards entertainment. And so my perspective is very much entertainment, which is good that we have Thorben here, who gives us more of a business perspective. So over to you, Thorben.
Yeah, my name's Thorben, last name Stemann, for those of you who don't know how to pronounce German names. The S is a sh. I only started doing conversational AI for the last 2.5 years, about. Got into the field pretty much by accident, and now I'm basically the first and hopefully not last conversational AI expert at Kocarek. We are trying to build a new business case for companies that want to localize a bot after they've already created it, and hopefully in future also give companies the kind of insight that they need to create a bot with future languages in mind, and not run into the problems that I will show maybe a few of during this meeting, where you create something in English, it works great, and then you try to do it in French or Russian or in German or Chinese, and all of a sudden you have to rethink the entire infrastructure. And yeah, which we're trying to avoid that. So yeah, that's why I put multilingualism and evangelist on there, because I think that for AI or conversation AI to truly reach its potential, it needs to be available in all languages. And we are already seeing how that egalitarian thing is a bit difficult in English, the so-called white man English, but I guess we'll not go into that rabbit hole today. But yeah, that's my mission, trying to get all the languages involved in conversation AI.
Wow, cool title, multilingualism evangelist. Ooh.
I mean, I have to call myself something, so I figured that was a good one.
Well, I'm president of emerging markets, I think. So I mean,
yeah, that's a mouthful. Yeah, I don't.
Okay, so overview of the current state of chatbots and the challenges in localization. Okay, we'll get into that later on. I don't think we don't need to stop and pause for that. We're going to get into that. Everybody knows the state of chatbots. Let's move on into actually starting to create chatbots. How's that sound? Okay, so today, as you saw, we picked a use case which was a candidate pre-screening or recruiting use case. And Kitty, she was being funny, and obviously this wasn't something that you would give to clients, but if you're recruiting, you can take a component called the Coco Recruiting, and then it's already pre-made and built. You just put that into your flow on your website or Alexa, and you can start recruiting with a chatbot. So let's go to the next slide real quick. create the flow. Cool. I don't know what the guy's doing. He's like magically creating a flow, which is really cool. I like that. What's next? Say, navigate, and component. Okay, can we stop sharing real quick? Oh, wait, you know what? Oh, yeah, let's stop sharing. What I'd like to do now is, instead of theoretically explaining to you what these things are, I'm going to actually just share my screen with you. If I can figure out where on the screen the CoCoHub, yeah, there it is. Here we go. Can everybody see this? Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, thank you for that, Miri. Okay. And so what do we have here? Can everybody see that we have 3 different types of nodes here, right? We have something called a say.
Jason, what's a node?
That's a great question. A node, thank you for asking. A node is a little box like this, and each node has a function. And so this node's function is to say. What that means is this is what the bot says. So if we're creating a flow, the first thing we do is we log into CoCoHub, and we have just an empty entry node. That's all we have on our blue, I guess it's blue. What color is this canvas?
It's blue adjacent.
Blue adjacent. Thank you, Thorben. And what we have is just an entry node, and that's where every project starts on this beautiful canvas. We have a name for it. So how about now everyone goes in to the hub real quick and logs in using your Gmail account, and then get to the screen where it's empty and you have just the entry node. And we're gonna do a flow like this, similar to this, but in your own language, in your native language. Is that cool? Everyone with me? Anybody have any questions up until this point?
Do I need any coding knowledge?
That is a great question. No, absolutely not. In fact, we discourage it.
Oh, I wouldn't go that far.
That's fine. No, but you don't have to. I think my background is in filmmaking. Your background is in journalism, Miri. Other people have backgrounds in other fields. We have a lawyer. We have a lawyer on the call, I believe. So everyone comes at it from a different perspective. And I think that's what's beautiful about this field, is that we've all been having conversations since we were very young. We've all had conversations. We all know how to have conversations more or less successfully. So the art of conversation design is something that we all know and that we've all been doing. So there's not there's no secret to this. It's about creating good conversations that are engaging. So I think we all have that ability, and this tool that CoCoHub gives you enables you, without any knowledge of coding or programming, to create really cool flows like you just saw on the hub. Does that make sense? We good? Is everyone good?
The question that I have is everyone muted on purpose, or is there some override that they cannot talk? So
yeah, I feel like we want to involve people in this. They can jump in here.
Everybody can talk.
Like we're rated on purpose, but yeah.
Hi.
Well, we should unmute everybody. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to delete this so that it looks more or less like what you have on your. Wait, I shouldn't delete this because then it's going to delete that bot from the call. So I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new one, and it's going to look exactly like, it's going to be called Workshop with cool people, because you all are cool people. And this is what it looks like. Is everybody here on their own workspace with just an entry node? Is everybody here? I have no idea if you are or you aren't.
Some people cannot do both. Look at you and do this.
Okay, well in that case,
they only have one screen, 2 people.
I got it. Okay, so let me show you. This is an entry node, and what a node is, as I said before, is this is where the conversation starts. This is where your flow starts. And just to give you a bit of a background on what these buttons are on the hub, we have the studio here, which is what we're looking at. This is our canvas, our studio editor. We have a briefcase, which has my components, which we haven't done yet. We haven't gotten to that node yet. We have logs, which is where you see your conversations the users are having with your conversations. For instance, if I go back to the one we just had, I can see this is the log of the conversation that I just had on the Zoom call with. Oh, sorry, this is the log of the conversation that I had on the Zoom call just a minute ago. And you can see, and this is the only way, I believe, that you can really improve a chatbot in the conversational AI experience over time is by reviewing the logs and improving the conversation. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm going to workshop with cool people, because y'all are cool people, and we have an entry, which is just a little block. The first kind of node that we have is called a say node. Okay, and what this does is this is what the bot says. Okay, so we're going to say, hello, I am a chatbot, but let's do it in a different language. Thorben, do you want to do this maybe on your screen in German?
Sure, hang on.
So I'm going to stop sharing real quick.
Yeah, I gotta shift all my windows around because I'm one of those freaks with multiple screens. So there we go. Pull that over here.
And let's do the simple one together of just in German so they can see, because they've seen the English one version. There's no point in showing them in English. Let's show them the flow in German and see how they can customize these nodes to their own language.
Yes. Where did my Zoom go?
Just writing the words in the language, or is it a case?
Yes, it's pretty much just writing it in your language, except in English. Yeah.
I'm kidding.
There's one extra step. Can I actually share? Oh, I can. There we go. And that's screen number 2, apparently. Okay.
Okay, so this is the first node, and it's called an entry node, and this is what your canvas looks like when you first log into CoCoHub. You have a blank canvas, and you have an entry node. That's it. And so now we're going to show you what the first node is, because we said we have 3 different types of nodes. The first type of node is called a say node, and what that is this is what the chatbot is saying. And Thorben says in German, "Hallo, I don't speak German."
Hallo Leute, was geht ab?
Okay, so this is the first say. Now what he can do is he can go to the right side where the inspector is and go on the bottom and type hi. And let's see what happens on the bottom when he types hi. Hello, was, okay, so it works. So this is how the next type of node is a navigation node. And you open up one of those, and the way you open up nodes is you just click on the canvas. Just click on the canvas once, and then it opens up this search box. And then you have a say, a navigate, and then I'll show you the third type of component in a moment. So now the next one is a navigate, because the chatbot has said something. In this case, it says, hello, was geht ab? What does that mean? What's up?
Just what's up, yeah.
Okay. So the navigation is the anticipated follow-ups that the chatbot will respond to this particular question. And there's 2 different ways of using the navigation. You can either use intents, although the intents at this point are only for the English language. The bank of intents is going to be expanded to other languages in the next days and weeks, and keywords. And now you're going to be using keywords, because keywords are the way that the NLP understands these keywords. And so that's how you can use this in a different language. So hello, what's the question again? What's up? So we can anticipate users saying nothing, yeah, great, I'm not doing too well, life sucks, a positive, a negative. And at the end, you want to just write some?
Yeah, I'm just filling some stuff. Keep talking.
Okay. So what he's doing right now is he's basically building out it's a collection of different ways of saying a certain word. It's basically creating an intent. For those of you who don't know what an intent is, I'm going to go ahead and explain that in a few words. It's a collection or a number of words that mean the same thing. So if I have a yes intent, it's all the words in the English language that also mean yes. So I would put yes, I would put sure, I'd put no doubt, of course, would all be under the yes intent. And this basically, yes. Celine, is there a question?
Yeah, just a quick question. When it comes to making the own intents in the other language, what is the variability of how it's written? What is the correctness? How many letters or numerals can they get off?
Yeah, well, I'm going to probably defer to the CTO on that one for a more technical answer. Chen, do you want to jump in on this one real quick and see it?
I can answer it.
Go ahead.
Right now, what it does, if you use the keywords, not the intents, then it will look for these words in the input. Okay, any of these words. Right now, if there are synonyms, you'll have to specify the synonyms if you use the keywords. If you use the intent, which is ready-made, then you can use just one example, and that covers all the different ways that you could say yes or great or. So basically, if you use the keywords, you have to be specific. If you use intents, you just give the general name of the intent.
I'm gonna ask a follow-up question if we have Chen on the call. Just here, if they want to build intents in other languages on Dialogflow, they can import those into the CoCoHub, right? That's something that we're a meta platform, so we play well with other platforms. So is that something that we can do and support, Chen?
Yes. Yes, Jason, this is right. You can take a Dialogflow agent, train all of your intents over Dialogflow, and then get them on our platform. And very soon we're going to have support to even edit the intents natively through CoCoHub, so you can have like more seamless experience.
Okay, great.
Faline, I think that Faline has a question.
No, sure, he did.
That was my question. Apologies.
Okay, so just before Jason and Thorben are going again, just to make sure everybody's on the same page. This is the super platform of CoCoHub, and you're building on it, and it's for now the building is free. So just to get everybody on the same page, this is what we're doing now. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Iran and Yaki and Chen and everyone. And Faline, great question. It's a wonderful question. I don't want to get too technical in this workshop because I want this to be open to anyone, even the beginners who have no idea what intents are and stuff like that. But that's a great question, Faline, and I think that we are addressing that and have a great solution for intents in the coming days and weeks. Okay, so we have
Jason, just to say something. I created actually a little one-liner that can be helpful for you with your intents. So I will share it with you later.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, so what we have here is we have a say node and a navigate node. So say, and these basically go together. You have to use a say and a navigate, because if you just string say together, you're just basically a monologue till the end. And we're creating interactive experiences, meaning what that means is that we have two people, or one human and one chatbot on the call. And the idea is that this conversation is interactive. It's not a radio show. It's something that both parties are involved in. So every say should have a navigate. There shouldn't be a string of says. It just doesn't, it's not a good conversational flow. So we have a say, and then we're asking a question. In this case, we asked, how are you? And so we have an anticipated set of follow-ups. And if you notice, the last one he's looking at right now is called a wildcard. And a wildcard, for those of you who are wondering, it works in all languages, and it's just basically, it catches anything. It's the bottom of the barrel. So if nothing else matches, it has to hit the wildcard. Does that make sense, that concept? Does anybody have any questions about the wildcard concept? And what that means?
I have a question.
Yes.
Here's the question. You always have to have a wildcard after navigation every time, or in a navigation. You always need to have a wildcard, because if you don't, and the user enters something that is not specified in the intents or the keywords, then you have to have a wildcard. Why isn't it just the default to always have a wildcard at the end of any navigation node?
That's a great question. That's a great suggestion, and you're absolutely right. What he's saying is this flow won't be able to continue. Imagine this is an electrical circuit, okay? And if there's no wildcard to move it along, it's going to end here, and there's nowhere for it to go if it doesn't match on any of these different keywords or intents. So it needs to match on a wildcard at the very bottom. And the reason it's at the very bottom is because it's by priority, meaning if you put the wildcard first, it wouldn't look at nicht, gut, and schuss, and it would go straight to the wildcard. So by putting it last, and he's dragging it here, by putting it last, it means, make sure to put it last, Thorben. So
I'm just demonstrating.
The order is important here. It matters.
Order is important here, absolutely. And so each one of those has a distinct say follow-up to it. So if the user says tschüss, which means good, no,
tschüss just means goodbye, so that one should go. So there's a logical hierarchy to this. So obviously you don't want to have gut or good at the beginning if the next one is not, because you can have a sentence like, oh, how are you? I'm not good. So that would match up here, and you want it to match first. So then the negation should come first, then the positive, then just the whatever else you have, and then the wildcard at the end.
That's a great point. Great point. Okay, so now are these two different types of nodes clear to everyone? Is everyone okay with these two types of nodes? Does that make sense to everyone, these two types of nodes? I'm gonna guess that that's a yes. I get nothing here. This is tough.
If anybody had problem, just write it in the chat and we'll explain again.
Okay, moving along. So the third type of node that we have here is called a component, and this is what we started off as a company creating. And we believe that these pre-made, pre-built components are, are a great solution for people who don't have any coding or knowledge in conversation design. What they are little conversations, pre-built conversations around a certain topic that you can customize. So for instance, let's go into Thorben. On the left-hand side, there's a little house at the bottom, which is where we house all the components. And what we're going to do is we're going to click on that. And we're going to go, these are all the various components that are on CoCoHub right now that you can take and use. And Thorben is going to show you how to are we going to do that? Where you can localize the component? That's part of the, okay. So what we do here is, and these are for different purposes. So you can see it up top, we have name, scheduler, and phone number, very much utility-based components, which help you get a user's name, schedule an appointment, or get a user's phone number, which is very challenging when you have voice applications. It's simple on text to just write their name, but once you get into voice, it becomes much more challenging. So let's go down and pick the one that we looked at earlier in English called job. So just type in Coco, or just type in. Just type in job, Coco job interview, and then click it. You click the box, and what happens is when you click the box, it gives you a sampling of what this component does and what's in there. So let's talk to it. So let's see how this is different than the component that I created. And it says, do you want to, I don't know if we have the voice on, but it says, so I understand you.
Well, if I had you, I'm not sure if you could hear it. So.
Right, because the screen. Okay, so what
I don't know if I have to, if I can actually.
Try.
Where it says voice, just toggle the voice.
Okay. Oh.
Can you hear it?
Not now. No, it's off, no?
No, he just said something, so I'm not sure how to share it through Zoom.
Okay. Just hit return. Hit enter.
No, I don't think it's microphone. Anyway, so this
well, it's talking to me, so I'm gonna turn that off.
You're hearing voices in your head, Thorben. That's not.
Yes, I am.
So what happened here? Let's go one more turn. Let's go one more exchange, just to see what happens here. Okay. So
can you enlarge the screen by like 20%? Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, that was too much.
Too much. Okay. So this is more or less the flow, but one of the most important things in conversation design is consistency of voice. And what we do is we try to maintain consistency across the chatbot, across all these conversations that they're having. So users pick up really quickly on a disingenuous bot. If the bot starts saying one thing and then it acts a different way in the middle of a conversation, imagine watching a TV show like, I don't know, Game of Thrones, season 8, and all the character development that has been built up into that point just thrown out the window. You're going to stop watching, right, Thorben?
Oh, don't get me started on
I won't get you started.
Yeah,
So,
imagine if that happened. Weird.
Yeah, right? I mean, come on. They ruin the show by not following the rule. Number one is be consistent with your characters. I could have told him that. I should have told him. I got on the phone and talked to him. Anyway, so next thing we're going to do is we like this component. We're going to hit use. So you're going to click this button. You're going to press on use. And what it does is it copies this component and makes it ours, but we have to give it a unique name. So let's call this one German job interview or whatever you want to call it. Call it Steve.
I actually already have it, so let's
look at it. Let's just look at the one.
If I hit save, it will put it in my hub. So if I go to my components now, I already have a couple of them, and I think that's the one.
Okay, so let's click on the 3 dots and where it says data.
No, it's here. That's the one.
Okay, so click on the 3 dots. So what happens is we get the option, this is his workspace of all of his components. And now he wants to edit the lines, the text, the actual bot responses inside the component. He goes to edit component data. And here we have all the lines that he's already customized. And each one of these, okay, great. So let's hit, great, so this is fine. So let's go back to our flow. We're happy with the customization of this flow. Let's go back to our studio project, and let's send all of them to that place. So you just click on search, and where's your job interview? That's under my components. Yeah, you go under my, or just look for it, or you can find it like that.
That's the one.
Okay, so click on that, and you'll see it comes up in purple. And purple means that this is a customized component that you've created and changed and altered. This isn't the component from the hub. This is the component from the hub after you've customized the lines. So let's get this flow from all of those. Let's just go to the job interview just for the sake of the demo. And then on job, we're going to go there and let's just test it to make sure that it works. Okay, you're gonna have to do the German, or Yaki, you're gonna have to do the German.
Okay, so it's basically just the localized version of what we saw before. It says, all right, so I understand that you're looking for a position of executive assistant under Employers Inc.
Right. So what he did was, we're going to show them how to do that in a minute. You have a special tool, external tool that helps you customize these components, right? Are we going to do that? Okay, great.
I have it up and I can show it. It's not something that you all will be able to replicate, except for my colleague Alex, who I see in the chat because she has access to it. Okay. But yeah, we'll get to that. But yeah.
Let's go to channels. See, on the right-hand side, we have something called channels. Does everyone see that? Okay, and here we have all the ways that you can take what we just created, this really nice flow, and publish them to one of these. Sorry?
I think we have a question from the audience. Rudy? Or Ruti?
Just a cough.
Okay, so we have a number of different deployment options here. For voice, you can go onto Alexa, and if you click on Alexa, it's amazing because you don't even have to just click on it. It takes you right to the your Alexa dashboard. Cancel that because we're not going to be doing an Alexa skill. Embedded means you can put this on your WordPress site just by putting in the text. It's very simple. Facebook, obviously, it connects directly to your Facebook account. Telegram, the same way. Phone, if you want to have a phone option, but we're going to do Zoom because we want a digital avatar. So let's click on Zoom, Thorben. And once you click on Zoom, you get this amazing, you get to start playing dress up. And this is my favorite part of the whole job here. We get to pick a character. So who do we want to be our German Jetzt in Deutschen character? Who do we want? Let's have a quick poll. Diego, Owen, Leroy, Ben, Kala, Lolly, or Lakeisha? Okay.
Owen.
Nope. Sorry?
Owen.
Lolly.
Lolly. Okay, Lolly it is. And she going to be in the office, behind a gray wall, in a dressing room, at the barbershop?
Whatever.
Is that an option?
Okay.
So random.
So we pick a location, and just as an update, an FYI, that we'll be having more characters and more scenes in the coming weeks. So these are just the ones we have in the beginning, and hopefully we'll have much more, and you'll have a much broader selection. The next thing we do, and this is very important, go back up to the top again. Let's go back up to the top of this real quick. Give your bot a face, a voice, and an email address to invite them to Zoom calls. Add your bot to a calendar invite. We're going to show you how to do that in a second. But first, the bot's name, we can change that and give it a different name. Call him, it's weird that the bot's name is Dave. Call it Hal.
Well, since it's a Lolly, I'm gonna just gonna call it Hannah.
Okay. And then you can change this to demo, I don't know, whatever. Call this something. Demo.
And
Workshop.
Yeah, okay. Now we've given those, and just to remember, you cannot change the email after you've assigned it. So
and we've also noticed that you have to change it, otherwise it will link all of your components to the default one. So definitely replace that with a unique string.
yes. So replace that with whatever, and that's going to appear on the call. Like we have your name, that's going to appear on the call, right? Or is the bot name? Which one appears?
I think the bot name appears after it's connected, and while it's connecting, it shows the email address. But I'm not sure.
Cool. So let's go down. Yeah, okay, thank you. The next thing we do is we pick a language, and let's click on the languages here so people can see the supported languages. So if you go up, we have Arabic, Dutch, Australian English, British English. You go down the list, you have French, Italian, Japanese, Korean.
Okay. Deutsch.
Deutsch. Thank you. You get to pick a voice action, and you can test the voice. You can't really hear it because Thorben is playing it, but you can't really hear it. But you can hear their the type of voice that they have right from the from here.
Yeah.
The next thing is very important, the wake phrase. Okay. Now this, in the beginning when I said cat food, oh shit, I just said it again. It's the word that wakes up the bot. It's sort of like Alexa. Sorry for waking up all your Alexas. It's a wake word, and you need to assign one, and you need to assign one that is easy to understand and that the speech recognition won't mess up. So you can always say, hey, bot name, or you can just come up with one like good morning, or I don't know.
Yeah. The best wake phrases are easy to understand and very unique, so they don't trigger by accident.
Yes.
So just hey is a bad one, because how often is anyone going to say hey in a call?
Exactly.
Or okay, something like that. Yeah.
So you want to make a wake phrase that's unique, but at the same time,
supercalifragilistic.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious should be good. Unique wake phrase, okay, and
yeah,
goodbye. And now what happens is if you say the sleep phrase, the bot goes on mute, but you can wake them up again by saying the wake phrase again. So if you want to stop them in the middle of their flow, you can just put them to sleep and then wake them up again when you want to talk to them again. Okay, so
the wake phrase should be in German, by the way.
Sorry?
What should it?
The wake phrase should be in German.
Yeah, we tried that, but I'm not sure that the that it actually recognizes German speech. I would have to try and pronounce the German wake phrase as American as possible, and I'm already apologizing for that. So let's let's see if it can get this.
Okay. Einzigartige Aufwachphrase.
Almost, Yaki. You're closer than Jason ever will be. That much I can tell.
Einzigartige Aufwachphrase.
Maybe something that's easier to pronounce.
Maybe something like Guten Tag or something like that, man. Come on.
Einzigartige Aufwachphrase.
Okay.
Let's try something simple.
Guten Tag.
But also add wake up just in case it doesn't work, so that we have a way of waking him up just in case it doesn't work. Laugh. Yeah. Okay. Cool. And so he clicks save, and look. Notice what happens when he clicks save.
Updating channel.
Updating channel created, and then.
I don't know what this is.
Published to sync changes.
Never published. Okay. We have to. Sorry, everyone. There's a button up here called published, and we never published it. It needs to be hit. That's like a save button. We need to save it before we actually go to the thing. You always remember to hit save. So let's go back to Zoom real quick because I want to show that the bot's email. So click on the Zoom channel here real quick, and then we go in the bottom, and then we have copy bot's email, so we can copy that to our clipboard, or we can do just quicker. We can just invite them directly from here. So let's click on invite jetzt in Deutschen now. See what happens.
Jetzt in Deutschen.
Yeah, I don't.
No. Okay. So just copy the bot email. Okay,
I sent it to you already.
Okay. So you can stop. Sharing. And did you send me? Did you copy the bot's email, or did you
send it to you? Yeah.
Okay. So everyone, on the bottom of the screen down here, you have 4 different tabs: you have participants, chat, share screen, record, and reactions. I think it's 5 actually. So I hit on participants. Okay. Now this is after I have.
Wait, we cannot see what you're doing.
I can't see what I'm doing.
We cannot see what you're doing.
Okay, so I need to share my screen. Okay, and what do you see? You see my screen right now? What do you see?
Your screen. Hello, I am a chatbot.
Ah, you are? Yaki? I didn't know that.
Yes, I am.
I don't know how to share the Zoom screen. I don't know how I can share the Zoom.
Most people know how to invite someone to a Zoom call.
No, you can share your Zoom screen. Just pick the right one, the right tab.
All this pressure here, Yaki. I don't know if I can handle it. No, it's not. It's sharing this screen again every time I hit.
It's coming.
No, why don't someone else just do it?
No, pick the right tab.
Ben?
This is your inbox.
Yeah. Okay, so what you do next is you've copied the bot's email, right? We have it. We go into participants at the bottom. There's a button with little characters and a number of participants in the chat. We click on invite. Okay. And then it opens up an email, and then we just hit Gmail, and we just paste the bot. I don't have the actual, it's in the chat, Thorben?
On your Discord, but yeah, I can send it on.
No, I got it
here as well.
I got it on Discord here, 1 second. Okay, Thorben, there we are. Okay, got it. And what I do is I go to the bottom and I just invite our friend to the meeting. Invite, email, Gmail, and I invite them to the meeting, to this specific meeting, and then I get an email saying they'll be here in 3 minutes. And that's it. We have created a chatbot in German natively and invited it to the meeting. And while we're waiting, Thorben, do you want to show them the tool that you
Sure.
use to localize it?
Yeah, so I have to. There's so many windows with Zoom. It's quite the hassle. Okay. And screen number 2. There we go. Now you should be seeing the same where we left last time. So the tool that we use here at Kocarek for most of our translation work is called MemoQ. It's a computer-aided translation tool, or short CAT. Unrelated to the cat jokes at the beginning of the workshop, but I like it when things turn out this way. So I already created a project in my CAT tool. I'm not going to go through all the steps. That's irrelevant for you guys, since you won't be able to use it anyway. I just wanted to show how I actually get the component from CoCoHub, import it here, and then do my translation task. So the first thing we need is we need to get that component out of CoCoHub. So what we do is we go to the components, and then in here, I'm going back to the metadata, not the metadata, the component data. And here I could just go through and just translate every sentence in the UI. That's not very efficient, because you would have to do it one line by another. But I can't also just go here and copy it, because it will copy all this junk in between. So what I do is I'm just going to the raw JSON file, and I just copy the entire JSON file, and then I'm saving a new JSON file on my computer, which I then use for the import in the CAT tool. So I already did that. Gonna go here into my MemoQ project, and excuse me for having it in German. So I'm going to import my job interview VP3, and it will automatically determine that that is a JSON file. Good. I'm going to import it with the JSON options. And now I can open it like this, and I can see all the contents. So here I can now either translate it myself, or I can send it to a professional translator, which is what we, of course, would recommend if you're doing anything for a client or anything that is outward facing. You don't want to be just, half-assing your translations. But there are a couple things that I'm going to do now for today's purposes to make it quick and dirty. So to make it quick and dirty, number one, we will use machine translation. Again, machine translation is great in a lot of ways, but also very terrible in a lot of other ones. So I wouldn't recommend using machine translation for anything that goes beyond just playing around, at least not without having certain safeguards in place. What we have to do before we translate, though, is make sure that any metadata that might be in those texts is preserved. So what we're seeing right here, for example, is a variable. These brackets with content inside will be replaced while the bot is running by values from the context. So if the bot knows the name of the user, it will insert it here. To make sure that our machine translation doesn't destroy this, we may have to make sure that these are protected segments. You can take my word for it. I don't want to drag this out too long. If I run this just through a machine translation tool, it will output all of these variables like open position and employer in German, and then the technological side on the bot will no longer be able to associate the context variables with these texts, and it will just plain not work, or it will just give you this as a literal string. So instead of saying your name, when it says hi Jen, it will say hi bracket name bracket question mark or something like that. So what we want to do is we want to go away. We want to use a regex tagger. I already prepared something here. for my CoCoHub parameters. For those of you who know regular expressions, this is very simple stuff. I just have it find all of these things and replace them with tags, basically. And once they're tags, regex does the memo queue doesn't care about it anymore as data to be translated, but you can position it in the right place in your translated document. So let's just run this. And now you can see all of those things are now red icons, and they're treated as one character. Basically, you can just move them around. And now I'm going to enable machine learning. So we use DeepL in this case. And then I'm going to hit machine translation. The plugin is DeepLMT. Let's see. This shouldn't take long since it's not a big component. But of course, the bigger your components are, the longer this will take. And also, the bigger your components are, the longer you will have to make sure go through them and make sure that what's actually written there is still logical.
So I would say, just for the sake of this workshop, I would say let's use, say, navigate nodes in your language so that we can create a demo and you can bring it to the call. I think that would be, but this is the next level stuff right here. So this is
definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, but this is basically how I did it. And then I just exported this back to a JSON file. And then I got my JSON file and put it back into my component. And now it's working in CoCoHub in German.
Amazing. Okay, now I see that your bot is here on the call. Do you want to have a little quick chat and see if we can see how it looks in German? Okay, so what you would do is you would stop sharing your screen real quick. There we go, and go for it.
All right.
She needs to be unmuted first.
Yeah, because we have to say the wake phrase. So let's see if it actually uses correct German. Guten Tag.
Hallo Leute, was geht ab?
Auch nix.
Das tut mir leid.
So that was the, so hang on. Have to remember what, oh yeah, Schlaf. Okay, it's already asleep. So that was the non-intent that works, great. So let's try it again. Guten Tag.
Hallo Leute, was geht ab?
Ich brauche einen Job.
Also, ich verstehe, dass Sie sich für die Stelle von Executive Assistant unter Employer Incorporated bewerben möchten.
Ja, das ist richtig.
Ich muss Ihnen ein paar Fragen für unsere Akten stellen, bevor ich Sie zu einem persönlichen Gespräch einladen kann. Ist das in Ordnung?
Ja, das ist natürlich in Ordnung.
Okay, erste Frage. Wenn Ihnen die Stelle angeboten würde, wann wird nächste Frage? Was sind Ihre Erwartungen in Bezug auf das Gehalt?
Sehr hoch. Okay, Schlaf.
Weiter geht's. Beschreiben Sie Ihre Goodbye.
All right. So this component, of course, doesn't actually have any logic behind it. If you look into it in the hub here, basically what it is just a string of questions, and the input in between each question is just a wildcard. So you can say whatever you want. So when Yaki tried to intersect there, it immediately took this as a barge in, recorded it as an answer to the question that it actually hadn't finished asked yet, and then went on.
I think I remember this component being written. So I think the first question, if you don't agree to answer the questions.
Oh, right, those yes and no ones. Yeah, those you can.
There is some flexibility there, and there is more that can be introduced. You know, it's endless. We can play around with any one of these answers. So
yeah, you can definitely ask different questions, because the questions are.
No, not only that, you can also relate. You can also give answers based, or give responses based on the input of the questions, which we don't do right now in this component. You can answer anything, even illogical. If you would say, how much would you like to make? And you said $1, it would accept it and go on right now.
Yes, exact. That's what I'm saying.
It's not necessarily the case. It can be otherwise if needed.
Yeah, I think that we have components that have more logic, but we picked this one because it was very simple. I think that's why we chose this one, so that we could show in the 2-hour workshop how this is done. Okay, so now we've all seen in English and in German. The question is everyone here feel confident enough to start creating one in their native language? Yes, that's a big resounding yes. Okay.
That's what I heard.
Okay, so what I'd like to do now is I'd like to and again, I'm going to remind everyone that we have myself, Thorben, Ron, Miri, Yaki, and
Larissa asked a question. So you basically have to cover all eventualities and related buzzwords to ensure a smooth transition. Yaki, I see that Yaki answered.
Not all, but definitely most. And that's why, again, we have Larissa, this wild card thing. The wild card no match is basically, and this goes back to conversation design. How can you create a prompt from the chatbot that is closed enough and not open, not too wide? You want to make it so that you funnel them into an expected number of answers, meaning asking the user, what's your favorite color, is a great way, because there's only a certain number of colors, right? There's only, I don't know, like most people are going to say primary colors or cyan or something like that, but there aren't millions of colors. There's only maybe 10 colors. And then if you put a wild card at the end, you're basically accounting for 80% of the people that say a color. So the trick here is a combination of good conversation design and funneling people into the right answer, and using the wild card, using the no match intent to capture what.
You can use the wildcard also for clarification questions. You know, sometimes the user would say something, he cooperates, but you didn't account for this phrasing of the user's input. So it's completely reasonable to ask a follow-up questions. You don't do it twice or 3 times, and definitely not in the same text. But if the user says something unexpected, you don't give up right away. You will try again, and you try again, asking the same, providing the same response, and expecting him to be funneled into one of the possibilities. So it's not like every time you hit a wild card, you give up and on what you're trying to do. Usually you will try again, typically.
Yes, good point. Okay, so are we feeling ready to try? Because we're about an hour in, and I think that this should give us enough time. Now, let me give you some.
Jason, I think maybe we should take maybe a few, like a 5-minute break, and then we can continue.
Breaks. At what happens is you lose half the people, and that's it. So don't take breaks.
Okay, I'm conflicted here. I have one person telling me no, one person telling me yes. I don't know what to do.
People can take breaks on their own. You know, they do it all the time.
Okay, anybody who wants to take a 5-minute break can take a 5-minute break. I'm gonna keep on going. If y'all want to stick around, that'd be great. I can't tell if you're here or not because most of you are not. Your cameras are off. So what I'd like, yes.
Since people are possibly taking a break, so what the languages you pointed out, they're very standard spoken languages. In the event that you're trying to do one that's less standard, are the voices all from Polly? And when Thorben spoke, it was with more of a German accent. Is it possible to do that with other languages, or are we mostly stuck to the English or standard sounds?
Good question. It's a great question. Polly has a bunch of voices in different languages, so he picked the Polly voice. There's 3 options for German. So all the supported languages are the ones that are listed there on the Amazon AWS Polly. But let's say you wanted to create something in, I don't know, some weird, Esperanto, for lack of a better language, or something language that doesn't exist or not supported by any voice. What you could do is there's the workaround right now is you can, in the say and navigate node, or in the say node, you would paste a sound file, a sound tag for pointing to a sound file in that language. So you would have a conversation using sound files. The only issue would be the understanding on the other side, because there wouldn't be any speech to text. but you would be able to create a very rudimentary experience in other languages that are not supported by.
If you want to go real deep with it, you could also theoretically just use SSML to simulate your language that is not supported, but that is a lot of work and a lot of trial and error. So,
and it's not always very good, but
yeah,
you can definitely use sound tags.
Sound tags. So essentially record the things, have it pre-recorded in certain places that you could speak to at each node.
Exactly. So you would put the say nodes instead of putting text, instead of writing text in that language, you would just put, and let me show you what the tag looks like, or maybe Chen can just put it in, then Chen probably has it. I would have to look for it. Chen, can you put what a tag, a sound tag looks like? So if these people want to put it in a language that's not supported, so if you have some kind of, I know we had someone who wanted to do something in Hausa, which is a language in Africa of Chad and certain areas of Africa. And this is what she's doing, is she's creating this with voice with sound tags, creating an entire experience with sound tags until they support their language. Does anybody have any questions? Is anybody actually building?
I will help. I will give everybody a little heads up. I will share with you in the chat now a JSON of a generic one-liner. I will share the screen in a moment. You will be able to see what I'm talking about. I created a nice one-liner that gives you like the possibility, for example, if you write in German, if you write in Spanish, if you write in Italian, the possibility to just replace yes with like all the way in German to say yes, or no all the way in Spanish to say no. And you can start with it. You can just need to go to plus and create for custom and upload the JSON, the demo one-liner, and just call it whenever you want. So I'm putting I'm putting the JSON in the chat, and you will be able to get some help with this one.
Great. So again, is anybody building anything? Can we have one person at least build in a different language?
Sure.
Okay. Who's gonna be our volunteer? Come on, we need to have different bots here. And Larissa, we'll help you. No need to worry, Larissa. We're here for you. We're here for all of you. No one. This isn't a test. No one will be failed. No one will be fired.
Is there like an option to do a breakout session?
Sorry?
Is there an option to do a breakout session?
A breakout session, like rooms. How do we set that up? Can we set that up? We have technical people on the call?
Normally it's possible.
if you can set up multiple Zooms, then yeah, it should be good.
Or I would say maybe the best way to do this would probably be on Discord. Maybe put a link to our Discord channel, and then if you want to talk to us on Discord.
As the host of Zoom, you can put breakout rooms and randomly split people into the breakout rooms.
Ah, okay. Well, who's the admin here?
I think Miri.
Let's put her on the spot.
Put all the pressure on Miri.
Do it, do it. Okay. While does anybody need my help? I'm happy to help anybody if they want to try it. I don't speak many languages. I barely speak English. Wow, it's a tough crowd.
Yeah, everyone's muted, and I'm still not sure if that's by design or not. But yeah,
I think people may be just jealous, and I apologize. I'm actually like out in Winter Wonderland. I forgot about this thing, so I'm gonna have to watch it later. So sorry for being quiet this entire time. I'm not building anything. I'm just trying to profit from listening in.
Ah, okay, Andy. How are you?
I'm awesome. Hang on, let me show you what I'm looking at. I can figure out.
Okay.
My phone. Excuse me. I can turn on the. Oh, here.
Okay. Hey, Andy. There you are.
Hi.
Oh, well, that's the background.
What's going on around me? Yeah. So apologies. I'm not gonna able to go after work, so I had to do it before work, and I forgot about the session. So that's why I'm so quiet. I apologize. I know it sounds like a tough crowd for you guys. I mean,
that's a great excuse. Your excuse.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, I mean, is anyone doing it? Anyone? Yeah. Bueller? Yes. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Well, we're here to help, and I'd love to see some unique languages here. I'd love to see French and Russian. or hear it more accurately. What languages are we looking at here? Let's have a roll call here. Is anybody working in French, Russian? Or just maybe tell me what language you're working on, or in the chat, put it in the chat.
Hello?
Hi.
Yes. Hi. I'm sorry I missed the beginning of the talk. Do you have a recording to listen?
Great question. I think we'll have a recording after it's done. So we'll be happy to send that to you so you can follow along and create it. It's very simple. So
okay.
Once it's done, we'll send you a recording, all the participants.
Great.
Yeah, we will have the day.
Yeah. Actually, I'm in a French-speaking country, so I'm interested in French and Dutch.
Great. I haven't heard any of the avatars speak French yet, so I'm very curious. This is me being very curious to hear them speak in different languages. So we have Feline doing in Irish, and that's going to be an interesting thing. I've never heard Chatbot in Irish.
Yeah, the language code is GA. I'm looking right now if it's actually supported, but I don't see it. So it's not part of the supported languages in the configuration.
Part of Poly. Did they remove it?
I don't know.
I'm not seeing an IR or a GA. So.
That should be maybe SG.
SG.
Scottish Gaelic.
No.
Mm.
The only one with S is Swedish.
Yeah. Oopsies. What's CYGB?
Ah, they have it in Welsh.
What's CYGB? CY-GB? It's Great British, but what is it? CY? Anybody know?
Okay, I'm just gonna update you that the breakout rooms are
Welsh.
Is that's Welsh then? Yeah, it needs to be.
Welsh. CYGB is Welsh. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that close enough, or I don't know? I'm American. We don't know anything. Come on.
No.
I think that in Welsh it speaks and nobody understands anyway.
More than any language. That's true.
Okay, so breakout rooms. Who needs a hand? We're happy to help. Thorben's happy to help. Miri, I am, Yaki, Iran. We have some amazing people here willing to help. If you want to create the chatbot in a different language so that we can see and hear the wonderful words of synthetic voices from around the world.
Show the entry points again, how to add those.
Okay, great. So once you you log into this, do you want to share your screen, or do you want to just me to walk you through it, or show you on my screen?
I'd appreciate if you could do it on your screen.
Okay, so let's see. When you click on the let's see, where's my CoCoHub? Oh, there it is. Hold on one second. Sorry. Okay, shares the screen. Nope, still not sharing. Okay, so can you see that now, Feline?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so right now I'm going to get rid of this and throw it into the trash can down here. And this is every project you start, if you hit the plus sign up here, okay, when you first start, it's and you hit default, you create from template, and we're going to call this one Feline demo.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And what it does is it creates one with just an entry node. So if you don't see it, sometimes you just have to zoom out or zoom in. It's there somewhere on the canvas. You just have, sometimes it's being hidden. But every project starts with an entry node right over here. Does that make sense?
Yes. And how do you specify the keyword?
Just the actual word by commas, separated by commas, just like you would do on like a YouTube video, just separated by commas.
Okay.
It has to be said, the keywords are part of the navigation nodes, not the entry. The entry is literally just the start because it has to start somewhere. And then depending on what your bot wants to do, it can be useful to just have a say node first so that the user knows, oh, the conversation has started. You can start with a navigation node, but then the user needs to send in an input before the conversation starts.
Exactly. And let me show you one thing that you can do with the entry node. Why it's cool. So can you see my screen?
Yes.
Can I see my screen? Okay, I'm going to go and show you So I created this for a different workshop. But say I wanted to test just this component, okay? I have an entry node, but I want to test just one, and I don't want to have to go through the whole thing to get to this one. So I'm going to disconnect it from here. I'm going to drag it over here and then connect it directly to here. And then when I talk to it, I can talk directly to the component that I'm trying to test.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Then when
For
I'm
the
done,
record, I don't think you have to drag it. You can just connect it. But yeah.
Oh man, you're right. You're right. Good point. Okay. Yes, you don't have to drag it.
It helps if they are neatly organized. Otherwise, the connection will get all loopy and it will get very confusing to follow. But yeah.
That's a great point. And let me share my screen one more time and bother you all one more time, because I want to show you something that I've been working on that might be helpful. And if it is helpful, let me know and I'll share it with you. I created something. Every one of the components that I've written has it's the same template. It's called a 4-turn template. And this is what it looks like. Does this make sense to everyone? This big old...
If you zoom out further, maybe I'll be able to guess what it's... okay.
Oh no, what I do? Okay. And what it is, the structure is as follows. I have an entry. It's start the flow. I have a say, which leads to a navigate. And the navigate has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 possible follow-ups and a wildcard, which leads to, I have a one-liner component. And then I lead to a reprompt. I ask them again because I didn't get an answer to one of my questions, to the question that I want. And this is followed by another series of 6 navigations. And if I don't get what I want on the second time, I go to a wildcard, to another one-liners, to a final prompt, which leads me to the next turn. So this is the way I build conversational flows on here. And you're welcome to have this template if you want, if you feel that would be helpful. You just have to fill in the text in the different nodes. So if anybody wants that, you're more than welcome to have it. I can send it to you. And it basically, every single one of these, as you can tell, I've organized them in a way. The reason I brought it up is because I organized say at the top, navigate either slightly to the side of it, and then this reprompt below it. So a lot of people build this way, horizontally, but you can actually build both vertically and horizontally to make it more easy to see. And I think the important thing is to be able to easily visualize and see where you are in the conversation. And so it's important to be clean and create a clean slate, a clean flow, so that you can see and correct and clean it. Anybody have any questions, concerns, jokes? Bueller? Is everybody working? Is that why we're so quiet?
Hopefully.
Yes.
Okay.
So while we're being quiet, Gen, I think is Gen still here? Yeah. I think you said NLU support is going to come in a couple days / weeks / months. That sounds great.
Yeah, we're working on like a special section on the website for intents. It's going to be a bit different from what you're used to from different platforms, like because each one of our intents is independent. It don't consider it as part of a set, which makes it easier to collaborate on.
But if you combine multiple intents into a component, will they then be trained together, or how does that work?
It's trained ahead of time. Like each intent has its own data, and then when you use them in the studio, it's already trained, and you can just
right. So all the intents are trained together in one large set.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Will they be just in English first, and then?
No, we're launching it right from the start with the language support, but the first ones we're going to provide are in English, so you'll be able to add your own data set with different language.
I see.
So I would recommend those of you that are building out, just use the wildcard, just not to worry too much about it, just to see what this feels like, just so you can get to connect a say node to a navigate node with a wildcard, and then connect that to any one of the components, or just not even a component, just have maybe just wish the user a happy birthday and just say, okay, I got to go. Even that is a cool little use case that you can invite to your family's gathering or wish someone a happy birthday. It's a cool thing in a different language. So even just that, you don't have to go, don't try to create the next her or don't try to create we have less than an hour. So try to create something that we can show, we can bring onto the call and we can talk to, and no one's going to try and break it.
Can there be two different languages inside of a chatbot just in case somebody uses the wrong language, or is it just one only?
I believe it's one. Chen, correct me if I'm wrong.
Because you have to deploy it in one audio. Like if you use a text one, I guess you could write it cleverly where certain intents trigger the change in language, and then you can react to different keywords.
Yeah, I believe. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, or you can just react to both kinds of keywords as long as the two languages that you're supporting don't have any linguistic overlap where one word might mean the exact opposite or something different in another language, and you're also looking for that. Then on text, yes, but in the Zoom, because you have to select which language and which voice, I don't think so.
Yeah, Libé, I think you're living in Brussels, right? In Belgium.
Yes. Can you hear
okay,
me?
so, yeah, I can hear you. So I think that, for example, you can start your chatbot by asking, do you want to speak Flemish or French? And then just to build like one flow in French and one flow in Flemish. This is the name of the language?
Yeah, sometimes you don't have to, well, in especially in Belgium, you don't have to ask, or it's very unpolite to ask people which language do you speak, but you have to detect.
Okay.
Yeah. So once you detected the language, then you can switch to another, well, to the appropriate language flow. But I have a concern about if you build an interface between a language and English, but you have a lot of synonyms. How do you deal with synonyms?
Great question. I'm not sure, entirely sure. Chen, maybe you can correct me on this if he's still on the call.
I can answer the question about synonyms.
Go ahead.
I think I addressed it briefly before you came onto the call, Levi.
Yeah.
So the answer is as follows: if you use an intent, okay, you can use when you do navigation, you can either use keywords or you can use intents. Okay. If you use intents, the intents cover synonyms. So basically, if you use an intent, simple intent like yes, there's a big number of words that would cover okay, I agree, agreed, all many different ways to agree, to say yes. So if you use the intent, then it will cover all the synonyms. But sometimes you don't have an intent, okay? You just want to catch if the user says a specific word in the sentence or a couple of words. Okay, so in that case, when you use the keywords, then you have to make sure that you specify the synonyms.
Yeah, you have to build a kind of a dictionary, synonym dictionary.
Yes, yes. And you can also create an intent if you specify all the synonyms. Then basically what you have is an intent.
Yeah.
Okay? So that is the difference between using keywords and using intents. If you go into the bot studio, you will see the difference.
Yeah, I mean, when you have keywords, you can just add multiple synonyms with comma. So, but one major difference between what most platforms and as Chen informed us also in future here on CoCoHub, intents are AI, so that there's a natural language understanding happening. So that the machine takes a bunch of input sentences that you define that would stipulate an intent, and then train itself to recognize similar sentences as that intent. Whereas keywords, even though when you fill up the keyword list with a bunch of synonyms, technically, yes, you're covering more ground, but it's not quite the same as an AI or an NLU intent, because especially in English, one word can have very different meanings depending on the context.
Thorben, intents can be very specific. Okay,
but you can have rule intents too. Yeah,
you can create an intent which is designed for a very particular context. So maybe in this particular context, yes will be accepted and okay will not be accepted, because okay is a little different than yes. Right. So in that case, you will have to specify and use either a custom-made intent or just specify the keywords.
Okay, so while everyone is doing that and while we're waiting, I'm going to use this opportunity to show you a bit more about the hub. How's that sound? Amazing, I think, right?
Until we lose everybody.
Yeah.
Until we lose everybody.
One thing that I probably should have specified as well while I was sharing, these components that you add from the hub, structurally they're the same thing as the well, for lack of a better, the component you're building yourself. So any new flow that you build on CoCoHub also can be represented by a component. So for example, the question about which language do you use, you can build the same flow twice, once in Dutch and once in French, and then have a third flow that just finds out the language and then connect to one and the other flow.
Yeah, that's awesome. Absolutely.
Though I'm not sure how that will work with the Zoom call functionality, because if the root of the two is in one or the other language, then I don't think the other will work. But on text, it still does.
So what I want to show you real quick here, up top here, we have the inspector. We saw that, the logs and the channels. Over here, we have the studio, the components, logs, hub, and account. But let's say you're building a Dialogflow and you want to import from Dialogflow. You can import an entire agent key from Dialogflow. So if you want to train your chatbot on Dialogflow and then import it to here, you can do that as well. Let's say you want to take this and make this into a component. You've created a really unique flow and you want to create a component out of it. So what you do is you just go up here, you click download config. It's going to download the JSON file. And then I go up here to the plus sign, I hit plus, custom, and I just basically re-upload the file. And now I'm going to call this one, this is my JFlow component. And so if I want to add it to a different flow here, let's say if I wanted to go into the one that I just created, or the Faline demo, and I wanted to add my flow here, I would just do JFlow, and that whole thing from over there is now a component in a different project. So you can create components, and everything is a component. Everything is in cursive. Everything is a component, and nothing is a component. So very cool. I like that. Yes. Anyway. And don't forget to hit publish. Like Thorben and I forgot to hit publish. Don't forget to hit publish. Very important to hit update publish component before you go to the channels in Zoom. Cool. Okay. Do we have a bot? Do we have a bot? Do we have a do we have a anything? Faline, how are we doing? You still here?
Guten Tag.
Hallo Leute, was geht ab?
Ganz gut. Ich will einen Job.
Also, ich verstehe, dass Sie sich für die Stelle von Executive Assistant unter Employer Incorporated bewerben möchten.
Nein.
Ich muss Ihnen ein paar Fragen für unsere Akten stellen, bevor ich Sie zu einem persönlichen Gespräch einladen kann. Ist das in Ordnung?
Überhaupt nicht.
Es liegt an Ihnen. Wären Sie so freundlich, ein paar Fragen zu Ihrer Bewerbung zu beantworten?
Ich habe Nein gesagt.
That's it.
It's okay. It's right. It should be.
Yeah, that's the on fail state.
The component failed, right? Yeah. And now control needs to be transferred to whoever called this component, which is perfect.
I love, by the way, how, and this is one of those things where why I said translating something doesn't automatically work just because you ran it through DeepL or Google. She has a little pause in the first prompt there because it says Employers Incorporated, and INC dot is not a known or standardized abbreviation in the German set. So what she says is
INC Punkt.
Yeah, INC Punkt. So she actually thinks that that's a full stop and stops the sentence. Like the inflection of the voice goes down there, and it was. I heard it the first time, and now the second time I was like, oh yeah, right, because it's a.
So yes, when you do a voice bot, you have to listen to how it comes out, and never use automatic translation, Thorben. I know it was very nice to show us.
I agree.
You have to go over it anyway. So if you go over it, it's just as well that you just write the right way.
But yeah, especially when you have voice involved. Even if you have it professionally translated, you should double check to see if whatever the algorithm thinks of it actually works out. Because if you have very good copywriters in your language, they might come up with like very cool sentence structures that the machine just doesn't know how to pronounce correctly.
No, you cannot rely on that.